The Game Boy Advance is certainly no stranger to licensed games created to cash in on the popularity of various kids and teenage cartoons and sitcoms. I mean, there's not one, not two, but three Lizzie McGuire games on the system to give you a perspective on it. Today we're going to take a look at Drake and Josh. It was released in 2007, pretty late in the lifespan of the Game Boy Advance. It was pretty well after the DS was released. The game quickly dropped to a budget title for sure because I paid $3 for it brand new less than a year after it had released. As sort of a curiosity. I'm by no means really expecting much from this game. After all, it is a licensed game by THQ for a system drowning in similar titles. But at least this game will have what I assume will be a nice to listen instrumental of the classic theme song. Or maybe not. This is definitely the worst rendition of the Drake and Josh theme song that I've ever heard, personally. You start off the game and you see the word password, which is always a bad sign, and it's kind of a weird thing to see in a game released at this time. This game doesn't save. This is 2007, the 7th generation of game consoles is well underway. That's a bit lazy, I must admit, even for a licensed game. You start off with these silly cartoon versions of the characters talking, and naturally Megan is up to her same old. Drake overslept and must sneak into class, which I guess is something the show would actually cover. Now before we get into playing the game, what do you think the style of this game will be? Anyone's guess would be that it would maybe be a platformer of some sort. Maybe a music game, since Drake is a musician? But no, it's a stealth game. At least to start. So I guess the protagonist is Solid Drake or something? Drake looks like Mac from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends and must creep around avoiding hall monitors and teachers to get into class. As you progress, there's tons of hazards like popcorn and security cameras that Megan installed all over the place. The janitors also left huge puddles of water all over the floor. How inconsiderate. They'll also try to attack you. Isn't Drake supposed to be 16 in this series? How are these janitors not in jail, or at least how are they still employed due to their incompetence? The timer doesn't seem too bad when you start, but when you get pretty far into the level, you realize that it's way too tight. That shouldn't be the case for a game where you have to slowly creep around. Drake goes into the girls' bathroom at one point. What a creeper. You get to the next level, and then you deal with these annoying paintballs that bounce all over the place. By the way, if they hit you, or even any of the other enemies hit you throughout the game, you freeze for like 5 seconds. It's a huge pain, and it's pretty annoying. The timer's also still tight in this level. Drake uses his guitar skills to hypnotize girls into following him, which is kind of weird. The next level is more of the same, but at least it's a lot shorter than the other two. And the final one is even more of the same. I'm just kind of over these stages. It's just very tedious. World 2 begins after this, and the gameplay switches to Josh levels, which are way better. They're not stealthy like the Drake levels. They're more puzzle-oriented. And honestly, they're just way better. They have nicer music. And Josh can run, which is a very welcome addition. Or I guess it's kind of more of a skip, as the animation puts it. In this chapter of the game, Megan unleashed a bunch of sheep into the school. That little girl sure does have a lot of time on her hands. Level 2 has you getting rid of the sheep that she unleashed into it. While it's sort of tedious, it's at least kind of fun. Yeah, I'm playing a Game Boy Advance game where you pick up sheep and throw them out the door. World 3 starts after that, and unfortunately, it's more Drake stealth levels. They're not necessarily bad, it's just the stealth aspect gets really old really fast, at least in a game like this. This time you have to avoid football players that are mad at Drake for hitting on their significant others or something. Thankfully, this world only has 2 levels as opposed to the 4 in the last one, which is good because 3-2 is a mess. World 4 finally gets you out of the school setting, which is a very welcome addition because I was getting pretty sick of that setting. This time it's in the movie theater, which is a step in the right direction. And it's back to the Josh levels, which is nice. Helen leaves Josh in charge, and naturally Megan has to screw it up. These levels are very puzzle-oriented, and while it's okay for a little, it does get tedious pretty fast. They play kind of like the game Voxel. I mean, I like Voxel, but it's just kind of overstayed its welcome at this point. The puzzles are toned down by the 3rd level, and you have to avoid these guys that look like Fred Durst in the movie theater. The puzzles are just exhausting at this point. Where's Crazy Steve when you need him? World 5 is only 1 level long. It's more Josh stuff, which is fine. This time Megan messed up the soda machines at the movie theater or something, and Josh has to get there. This level is kind of glitchy for some weird reason, and there's slowdown, something that doesn't happen at all in the rest of the game. After you get through, you have to finish the world with a mini-game that's not unlike the classic puzzle game Pipe Dream. It's just very simplified compared to it, which is a shame because I really like Pipe Dream a lot. World 6 is the end of the game. There's only 2 levels to go, and sadly they're Drake levels, which is kind of a bummer, but that's okay. Basically Megan screwed everything up again and got Drake's band arrested or something, and he has to find Josh to replace the band so they can perform the song Brothers. This time he's avoiding girls who want to cling to you and the Fred Durst guys again, and they just want to hurt you, assumably because he tried to steal their significant others. It's pretty simple and quickly done. It doesn't feel as annoying as the early stages. You finish the game with what may be the worst part of the whole game. A weird mini-game called Stage Fright where Drake and Josh are performing the song in front of an audience who are just awful and want to throw stuff at them constantly. I think the point is to go to the mics and mash A to quote-unquote sing while using B to knock the stuff they're throwing at you back. I don't think I did it right, but it still said I beat the game, so I guess I'll take it. The game ends with an enemy roll call, similar to what you would get at the end of Super Mario World or the Donkey Kong Country titles. All the enemies in the enemy roll call have pretty generic names. Wait, what? Dread First. What? I wrote the joke claiming that those enemies looked like Fred Durst before I finished the game, but wow, I guess I was completely spot on. This is definitely one of the funniest things I've ever seen in a Game Boy Advance game. Dread First. So overall, Drake and Josh isn't as terrible as I had anticipated. It's certainly tedious and frustrating. That's something I definitely will not argue, but in the journey, there was at least a little bit of fun to be had. If it was a little more polished, it could very well be a good game. Drake and Josh, you did alright. Anyways, thanks for watching. Sub if you like it. Like the video if you like it. Thanks a lot. Have a good one.